Hello members of the Purple Squad, potential better name pending, and welcome to the latest video on the lore and mechanisms of magic. In today's video we're going to discuss the original practice of Pact Magic, how it works, why a continuous magical link is possible throughout the life of a binder, when there are whole planes separating them from their patron. I would recommend grabbing a glass of water and a light snack for this one. I think it's an interesting video, but it deals with esoteric and nebulous concepts. If you like what I do, then please subscribe and join me in my mission to become a paid magus of the Conclave of Silvery Moon. Consider the fact that all planes are infinite, with the very remote possibility of the material plane being an exception. Although each of the solar systems within the material plane are bound within a crystal sphere, and it's possible that the crystal spheres run in perpetuity surrounded by void. It's possible that void only exists in the material plane. Now that's an interesting idea. Surely empty space exists in other planes, because otherwise how do things move around in them? But there's still extant energy and magic. But void, there's nothing. No magic, no energy, no potentia, just void. The sort of void that Tharisden would enjoy, and want to spread that enjoyment to all of his friends. I'm getting off topic. The point is, all planes are infinite, which means that all planes are layers over top of each other. They must be. It's not a new idea. The material plane is bordered by the Shadowfell and the Feywild, and in many cases the Shadowfell is a mimicry of the material plane, but shadowy and overgrown. Those kids from Stranger Things had D&D as a point of reference for it, after all. The cosmology or the Great Wheel give the idea that the planes circle and orbit around each other, these infinite planes with finite shells, with nothing between them except labels and lines. Possibly a few red circles and arrows just flying around in there, hoping to mislead people into thinking something really interesting is there to draw them in. Oh my goodness, red circles and arrows are mimics! I'm getting off topic again. I need to post videos more often, these ideas are bouncing around in my head. Summary. Planes are infinite and overlaid with each other, separated not by space but by energy. Angels ascend, demons fall, not distance but energy levels. The cosmological wheel is as factual as our real-world example of the atom, with electrons literally spinning around it. The far realm is far away vibrationally, but it can't be measured by distance, otherwise how could it be connected to us by dreams? Most telepathy have an outer limit of 200 feet, and it wouldn't work if it were literally orbiting out in space. But if they're linked to us while being separated by micrometers, then suddenly every time you go to sleep with the drowsy fear that there are monsters under your bed, guess what? Not only are they under your bed, they're also above it, around it, in you, all nestled in, feeding on the psychic energy emanating from your dreaming brain. Sleep well. The vibrational energy is hard to replicate for a certain plane. It's even harder to pierce the energy separating the planes. Some spells can do it, but it's no coincidence that teleporting around a plane uses relatively lower levels of spells. But traversing from one plane to any other needs higher magic, and usually the vibrational energy needs to be imprinted into a tuning fork, at least for the least type of plane shift spell. It's nearly impossible for matter to travel from one plane to another by itself without the aid of magic. Mortals have souls that can travel to other planes, sure, when they die, gravitating to the vibrational realm based on their experiences and choices in life. Good vibrates differently to evil, which is probably how we can detect it via magic. All of this near-rambling is leading to a point. Matter is often trapped in the plane it's in, but magic and energy can more easily travel. Magic can also bring matter with it, but it's a far higher cost than just sending information such as language or senses. And it's just as easy to send extra energy and magic from yourself to empower another. Introduced in 3rd edition, Pact Magic was first bound to entities known as Vestiges. Vestiges were the entities of such vast power or focus of belief that their final thoughts remain smeared into cogent reality. They are the final unfading remnants of something much greater, clinging to existence but unable to penetrate the barrier energy. Two such examples of Vestiges are Kaz, the vampire lord who stabbed Vecna in the back and was destroyed for his trouble, and Primus, the being of pure order who embodied the driving creative force behind Mechanus. These spirits are cut off and unable to affect the world around them. They are blind and deaf to the events that have long since passed them by. But what if a sage were to discover that one such vestige still existed, desperate for news of the outside and to perhaps spread its influence once more? What if they desired a return to power and had been forgotten for so long that they now possessed a dreadful, knowing patience? The sage knows the sigil of the vestige and performs a ritual that essentially says, "Hi, nice to meet you," and the vestige responds in kind, and then begins to offer secrets, power, abilities limited to its wasting form, but still far more powerful than the mortal has in their own life. I can grant you strength. I can give you a way to win the heart of your beloved. I can give you immense wealth. All you have to do in return is complete a ritual that will create a link between you and I, through which I, the vestige, can see and listen and occasionally enforce some of my will. In return, you, the host, will gain powers that aren't spells nor mortal manipulations of power, but are closer to the reordering of reality itself into effects such as what the wish spell would create. Powers included giving bonuses to skills, giving access to spell-like effects, allowing people to travel between realms more easily, or gaining supernatural abilities such as being immune to poison and disease, or being able to fly without wings. The bindings, being magic, were affected by anti-magic and dispel magic, but the abilities themselves could not be counterspelled or resisted by supernatural resistances, as those powers are also extraplanar. Each vestige is associated with a seal, a series of lines within a circle that acts as its symbol and as a portal through which it can enter normal existence, to a degree. To call a vestige, a binder must know and be able to draw its seal. In fact, anyone can draw a seal, but only someone with the power to host a vestige can hope to create a pact that opens the door for it. Immediately after drawing a seal, a binder must ritually invoke the desired vestige's name and title to summon it. Again, though anyone can intone the proper words, the binder's power is the key to success. Even so, a binder can summon only those vestiges that are within range of their personal power. Once a summoned vestige manifests, a binder must formally address it and request a pact. The general terms of the pact are always the same, no matter which vestige is summoned. To gain the powers that the vestige offers, a binder must agree to host it for a period of 24 hours. When a binder offers a pact, a contest of wills ensues between him and the vestige. This contest might be played out by means of an argument, a staring match, a riddle posed to the binder, or in any number of other ways. Some of which are patently ridiculous. Because how the heck is a spirit supposed to either win or lose a staring match? Either the spirit has eyes and it doesn't need to blink, or it's just an idea and so is pretty close-minded, and wandering around with boomer vision. All I'm saying is there has got to be a better challenge out there. If the vestige ultimately wins, it maintains a level of power over the binder for the duration of the pact. If the binder does not act as the vestige wills, it can punish him. However, if the binder reigns supreme after the contest, the vestige quietly accompanies them. Once a binder makes a pact with a vestige, the two are inextricably bound. A shard of the vestige's soul fuses with the binder's spirit, creating a link so tight that the binder's body manifests some physical sign of the vestige's presence. But again, generally temporarily. I'm not sure if you'd want a vestige to have a permanent link to you, but I imagine that such a thing would be possible. Really, it's an amazing deal. If you want a party that needs an edge over a dangerous enemy or boss monster, then it's a simple matter of having an NPC sage or researcher give the PCs access to the ritual and sigil for a vestige. As vestiges don't have to be mortals or once mortals, you can weave them into the fabric of your campaign really easily. If your campaign world has a famous myth, especially one that has come up in the party's past, then use that. In my campaign I have the words of creation, and the speaker of the words could be a good vestige. Give the binder access to one or two extra languages, give them advantage on persuasion or deception, give them the combat ability to use bard spells, or bard's words of power, or one of the power words themselves from the PHB, and you have a boon specific to the vestige of words. Those who practice Pact Magic go crazy about its ease. A binder never needs to beg for power or study mouldy tomes for hours on end, or be born to the right parentage. Once they learn the basics of Pact Magic, they can call up a vestige at any time and take its power for their own. Vestiges never refuse pacts, and they ask little in return for the power they grant. However, the tempting ease of Pact Magic and the necessity of soul binding with a being whose nature is completely alien generates suspicion about its practitioners. Many churches actively hunt binders and attempt to eradicate evidence of Pact Magic to prevent the faithful from learning that beings can exist that are beyond the reach of the gods. This general condemnation of Pact Magic makes discovering it difficult, even though the art itself remains quite simple. Add in the fact that the gods themselves require belief to live, to exist, and you can see why they would give down proclamations that the ability to bypass worship in order to get instant and non-binding gratification is wrong and should be stamped out. And maybe the churches had an inkling of what this magic could engender. You see, though the magic of pacts originated from spirits that essentially wanted to strap a GoPro to the heads of interesting people and settle back to watch the show, beings of far greater power, intellect, and horrifying plans learned of the magic of Pact and used it to tempt mortals to a greater level of power, but also leading them down a darker road. Next time, and much sooner than normal, we'll discuss the evolution of Pact Magic through Warlocks of 4th and 5th edition. And in this special 3rd episode, I'm going to introduce you to an item that allows non-casters to cast spells and casters to regain their spent spells. Unfortunately, when it comes to fragments, there's a price for everything, and everything for a price. Until then, to be continued.